If you're moving to Tulsa and the first thing you do is fall in love with a house online, there's a good chance you're starting in the wrong place. Now, that doesn't mean the house is bad by any stretch of the imagination. It means you may be making one of the biggest decisions of your life based on part of the move that is the easiest to photograph. The kitchen looks good, the price feels right, the yard seems big enough. The photos make the whole thing feel obvious. Then you get here and you start driving around and realize the question was never just, do I like this house? The better question is, does this area fit the way I'm going to live? That's where Tulsa can get confusing, especially if you come from out of town. Because when people say they're moving to Tulsa, they may mean Tulsa proper. They may mean Broken Arrow, Bixby, Jenks, Sand Springs, Sapulpa, Glenpool, Claremore, or even further out, Manford, Collinsville, all sorts of places surround Tulsa. And to someone who already lives here, those are not all the same conversations. To a relocation buyer staring at a map, it can all blur together so fast. So before you start swiping through listings every night like it's Tinder, and every weekend driving all over the metro, I want to help you through the area first. Not in a boring, this place is good, that place is bad kind of way, more like, what kind of life are you actually trying to build here? And which parts of Tulsa make it easier? Because that is how you narrow the search without losing your mind. If you're watching this because Tulsa is on your radar, comment where you're from. I'd love to know. I like knowing what market you're comparing Tulsa to, because someone moving from Dallas may see this place a little differently than someone coming from Colorado, California, Florida, or even another part of the state. Now let's get into the part that people skip. Your search should start with your normal week, not that fancy version of the week where you're suddenly having limited time, you cook every meal at home, you never hit traffic, and you magically become patient with long drives. I mean your real week. Where do you need to be the most often? How much driving can you honestly tolerate? Do you care more about being close to restaurants and things to do, or would you rather have more of a house and a quieter setup? Are you the kind of person who likes older neighborhoods with character, or do you just say that until that inspection report shows up? That last one matters more than people admit. A lot of buyers love the idea of character. Then they walk into a house with smaller closets, older systems, uneven updates, uneven floors sometimes, and a layout that does not feel like the newer homes they've been seeing on Zillow. Other buyers think they want newer construction until they realize the location pulls them further out than they expected. You see, nobody is wrong in either case here. The problem comes from not knowing which trade-off is going to bother you later. That's the real game here. Tulsa is not hard to understand once you stop trying to make every area compete for the same buyer. You see, inside Tulsa, you can find homes with more age, more character, and often better access to the parts of the city people recognize first. If you want to be closer to downtown, Midtown, Brookside, Cherry Street, the Gathering Place, all the local restaurants, older streets, and more established feel, the city itself makes sense. The catch is that established area often comes with established house problems. That could mean repairs. It could mean updates that look cute, but we're halfway done. It might be a layout that made sense decades ago, but does not match how people use a home now. Sometimes location's great, and the house needs work. Other times, the house is beautiful, but the price reflects the fact that a lot of other buyers want the same conveniences. So, the city gives you a lot, but it also asks you to be realistic. If you're allergic to projects, don't pretend you're going to enjoy a project house just because the neighborhood feels cool. That is where most people get burned. Now, that being said, if you want something that feels more suburban without feeling disconnected from Tulsa, well then Broken Arrow usually enters the conversation pretty quickly. And some other places like Sand Springs are starting to come up. There's a reason for that. It has everyday convenience, a lot of residential options, retail, restaurants, and familiar suburban feels that people moving from markets, for many buyers, it feels easy to understand. But you still have to be careful. Broken Arrow is not one single experience. Where you are within the area matters. Your roots back to Tulsa matter. The specific neighborhoods, age of the home, and the surrounding development all matter. A house can technically be in Broken Arrow and still give you a different routine than another home 15 minutes away that's also in Broken Arrow. That is why I always want buyers to think beyond the address. If the home checks your box but puts you in the wrong side of your normal life, you may not feel the problem during the showing, but you feel it on the 4th week of driving further than you wanted to drive. That is usually when the excitement fades and the routine takes over. South of Tulsa, buyers often start looking harder at Bixby and Jenks when they want newer homes, strong suburban appeal, more space, and more polished neighborhood feel. That can be a great lane for the right buyer. The issue is expectations. Somebody starts with a number in their head, scrolls through a few homes on Zillow, sees what they like, and then realizes the homes that really match the picture may cost more than expected. That happens a lot. It's not always a bad thing. It just means you need to understand what your budget buys in each area before you decide the market is frustrating. A $250,000 buyer, a $350,000, and a $450,000 buyer can have completely different experiences around Tulsa. The home styles change, the condition changes, the neighborhood that's available to you can change. So can the amount of compromise. That is why where should I live is too broad. The better question is, at my budget, where do I get the best version of what I actually care about? The answer may point one buyer towards Tulsa, another towards Broken Arrow, someone else towards Bixby, towards Jenks, and maybe even a little further out. Same metro, different priorities. Owasso, that's another place that deserves some attention, especially if the north side of the metro works for your life. For the right buyer, Owasso can be a strong fit. It offers a suburban setup, local convenience, and access back towards Tulsa. But location direction matters more than people think. A 20-minute drive can feel easy when it lines up with your routine. That same 20 minutes can be the most irritating errand you ever have, ever. A job, a friend, something you have to do. It will drive you insane. So distance on a map is not the same as lifestyle fit. When you're relocating, it's easy to underestimate that. You visit for a weekend, drive around, and you think everything feels manageable. The small drives you repeat every week matter more than the big drive you tested once. So, if an area looks good, don't just ask whether you like it, ask whether it supports your schedule. That one question will cut out a lot of bad options. Now let's talk about affordability, because Tulsa attracts a lot of attention for buyers, especially those who are looking for more house for the money. Compared to most markets, Tulsa can look refreshing. You may see homes that are, they feel more affordable than what you're used to. That part is real, but it can also lead buyers into a false sense of security. A lower price does not automatically equal a better deal. Condition still matters. Repair still matters. Insurance, roof age, HVAC, foundation, plumbing, electrical drainage, and resale potential all need to be a part of the conversation. A home can look affordable at closing and become expensive 6 months later. That does not mean you should avoid lower priced homes. It means the cheaper the house looks, the more carefully you need to understand why it is priced that way. Sometimes you find a solid opportunity. Sometimes the price is low because the home has issues the photos are politely hiding. Photos are great. And yes, photos hide a lot. A wide-angle lens can make a room feel huge. Fresh paint can distract from an old system. A clean kitchen does not tell you what the crawl space looks like. A cute exterior does not mean the roof has years left. That is why the area decision and the property condition have to work together. You do not want to buy that wrong house just because it's got you in the right area. You also do not want to buy a nice house in a location that makes your life harder every week. The sweet spot is where your budget, routine, home style, and risk tolerance all line up closely enough that you're not fighting the decision after you move in. For relocation buyers, there is another layer. Do not judge Tulsa only against the market you're leaving. If you're coming from a more expensive city, a house here can look like it's an incredible deal, but that does not automatically mean it's priced right for Tulsa. You need to understand whether the neighborhood supports the price, whether similar homes are selling, and whether the condition makes sense for what you're paying. A house can be cheap compared to California and still be overpriced for its pocket of Tulsa. That is where people make mistakes. They compare against the wrong market. Instead, compare Tulsa homes against Tulsa homes. Look at the area, the condition, the updates, the age, the lot, and layout, and the buyer demand around that specific property. That is how you avoid overpaying just because the number looks better than what you're used to. Now, if you're trying to decide where to begin, don't make it complicated. Start by ranking what matters to you most. Budget is usually first, but it cannot be the only thing. After that, decide whether commute, space, condition, location, or lifestyle should carry the most weight. A buyer who needs easy access to central Tulsa should not shop the same way as someone who wants maximum square footage. A person who hates repair should be careful with older homes, even if the neighborhood feels perfect. Now, someone who wants a newer home may need to accept the search will naturally point towards areas with fewer newer inventory. If your top priority is affordability, you may need to widen the map while staying realistic about condition and drive time. This is where the search gets easier. You stop asking, where is the best place to live around Tulsa, and start asking, which area gives me the best trade-off for my actual situation? That is a much better question because every area has a trade-off. Tulsa may give you better access and more character, but the home may need some more attention. Broken Arrow can feel convenient and familiar, though you still need to choose the right part. Based on your routine, Bixby and Jenks often attract buyers who want a certain suburban feel, but the homes people really want may push the budget. Owasso can make sense for a north side family as long as that direction makes sense for your daily life. The smaller surrounding communities can create opportunity, but affordability should never replace due diligence. That is how I would think about it if I were in your shoes. Pick the life first, then find the house that supports it. Most people do the opposite. They pick the house, try to force the life around it, and then wonder why the move feels harder than expected. If you're early in the process, here's what I do before you book a bunch of showings. Write down your budget, your ideal commute time, how much space you really need, whether you want newer or older, and the type of week you want to have. Then look at the Tulsa area through that filter. Put those glasses on. You'll probably eliminate some places quickly. That's a good thing. A focused search beats a wide open search every time. And if you want help narrowing it down, reach out. Tell me where you're moving from, what budget you're working with, what kind of home you want, what you absolutely do not want to deal with. I can help you make sense of Tulsa before you spend every weekend chasing listings all over the place. Drop a comment with the area you're considering, especially if you're stuck between Tulsa, Broken Arrow, Bixby, Jenks, Owasso, or Sand Springs, and somewhere else nearby. And if you want more straight-up Tulsa real estate advice, neighborhood breakdowns, home walkthroughs, and buyer and seller tips, subscribe to the channel. I'm Kaleb Wright, and I'm the Real Estate Rhino, and I'll see you in the next one.